Old Men Stories, Sunrises on Families.
Well, you made it. You made it to 4.
Well, you're doing that.
Well, I was doing that so that we could count and so you get that quiet spot in there, so I can pick up all the background noise and run it through the.
Okay,
noise
everybody that's watching this has no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, in a computer you get all this background noise in the audio, and it's from your fans and the fans in the house. And I'm not talking about my fans out there in Magic Land.
Old Men Stories
Yeah,
land.
Old Man Stories land. Wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the noise that I see in the computer, and I get this little section. I can pick it out and I can say, "Okay, take this as a model and get rid of it, and the rest of the audio."
So now everyone out there understands what this was.
Yes, I was counting to
Which
5.
made me laugh because he was using his fingers, which is sort of childish. We have 2 subjects today, and we get to choose which one we want.
Yeah, I think it's raising children. What do you think?
Oh, good. That's the one I was going to choose.
Okay.
We were going to talk about anniversaries
Yep.
or raising children. And I chose raising children because it's been one of the greatest joys of my life.
Yes.
99.99% of the time.
And I was one of those children.
No, he's not. He's just being Roland. If you don't know him, you don't know what that means. But if you have someone like him, you know exactly what it means. A lot of the ladies probably know. Are you rocking faster than me?
Maybe.
That's what
What
kids,
advantages
that's what
are there?
kids do.
What advantages are there?
Okay, raising children. Are we going to be serious about this?
Absolutely.
No, that's all I gotta say. You start.
Yes, well, they all grew up in spite of us. I'll have
To be perfectly wonderful,
Yes.
absolutely fantastic, outstanding people.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
In spite of our best efforts.
I don't think we made it difficult for them to turn out to be wonderful.
I didn't think so either. We let them out of their rooms once in a while.
Unless they were misbehaving, then we put them in their rooms,
Yeah.
which they loved, because they had television sets and games and all kinds of things that they loved doing.
Yeah, you'd say, "This is a timeout," and they'd smile.
Yippee! Time out! Okay, Mom, see you later.
Yep, it was, they had us under their fingers the whole time.
We were not strict disciplinarians, and some of my children, who will remain nameless in this video, remind me of that fact. And they have more discipline with their children.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know about that.
I
I think you did a pretty doggone
I
good
think
job.
I did a great job. Look
Yeah,
at them. They're
yeah.
fantastic. I
Yes.
really do have, I think, one of the most fantastic groups of children that there are.
Yeah, you know why she's saying all this, don't you? Because your kids pick out your nursing home.
Oh dear, you are full of it tonight. Which is good.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's the kids. The kids are really cool. As I was raising my kids, and after I got permission
From me. Ask your mom.
yes, I could choose. I could always. The major choice I always had was loving them. But I was my manly constraints and the whip just never came out because she controlled me. She was a toughie in control. I had all the paraphernalia to put them in shape.
I have no idea who he's talking about, but it's certainly not me.
No, I'll talk about me. I said you control me.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I don't know who you're talking about.
But,
it's
yeah.
not me.
No, it wasn't
There
her.
is no such thing as controlling you.
You've been watching a lot of videos of her, you kidding. So, if you watched a few, you know. Doesn't control me.
Actually, I do correct his English quite often. He has colloquialisms. That's a nice word.
I like that word.
I know, I was wondering if I was gonna get,
Colloquialisms. Look at that, I
I
said
was
it right.
wondering if I was going to get it out correctly.
You did
I did.
wonderful. I'm really impressed.
Which do not necessarily need to be corrected,
She loves to
and I do it anyway. He calls me teacher.
Yes.
I call myself a word snob.
But she doesn't do it to other people, so she's only a Roland word snob.
Well, maybe I do control you. Okay,
Well, I told you I was one of the kids.
from that point
Yes,
of view.
yes, she never got quite through this thing of correction. So when the kids left, it went from every time they left I got another percentage increase in loneliness. She was lonely about doing all that correcting, so she picked me. So the kids were all good. Oh, how do you like when they had to have a band? It was Alan that had a band.
Alan is our middle son, and he had a garage band. It's Roland's fault.
It was my fault.
Yes,
I don't know how.
because he bought Alan a Kiss album for Christmas one year. When I think Alan was what, 12, 13.
6.
It could have been that early. And then we did Kiss makeup for Christmas.
It was in that age bracket, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think Alan was hooked. Although, when he was 3 or 4 years old, barely could talk. He used to sing Rhinestone Cowboy, and he knew all the verses. And he would sing like a rhinestone cowboy, towel-boy, T-O-W boy, riding out on a horse in a tarpangle rodeo. And then my sister heard that, so she bought him jeans, a western vest, a hat, and a cowboy pistol. Pretend. And boots.
She's Texan.
Yeah, she lived in Texas. And it just went from there. Alan he can memorize or know the words, the verse, the lyrics. I can talk to a song if he hears it a couple of times, which I think is wonderful. He also writes music, which I think is wonderful. He's living in England now. I'm not certain he's doing all the music stuff, although he does put on Facebook all these albums. Seems like Slayer, great name, huh?
Yeah.
And 9 Inch Nails are his favorites.
Oh. Well,
I don't know anything about either one of them. Although Roland, for their wedding, they had a punk wedding. Roland did dress with a Slayer t-shirt. Well, what do you call those things? Undershirt. Well, never mind.
it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. I have a picture like that on the website, I
The whole thing was cool, actually.
think. It was.
Even though I was totally out of my depth,
It was totally different adventure.
out of my comfort zone. I like Western music, and I like show tunes, and I don't know what else I like. Instrumentals a lot. I never went for the Beatles, or even though I think they have wonderful music, what I know of it, which isn't much. This isn't about raising kids.
How did
We got off on that one.
That's right.
James and Sunita live in California, and
This is my oldest son,
yeah,
and that was
and my daughter Melinda
lives in Paducah.
lives in Paducah, Kentucky,
Yep,
and Mark and Stephanie live in Fremont.
right. And Ellen is in England.
Yes,
So our kids are sort of
Alan and Abby.
separate.
I adore Abby.
They're cool.
Yes,
So, yes, we have
We're
fun because
blessed.
we get to travel all over to see them.
yeah. Next year we think we're going to take a
In
ship
English,
and sail across to England to
That's
visit the youngins over there.
yes, that's one of our
Remember
planned
that?
journeys.
Remember that colloquialism I was talking about? I just call my children youngins.
Youngins, that's a Texan.
Well, no, I'm Kentucky and Tennessee and the South,
That's right. It's Minnesota.
spelled young dash UNS.
Youngins, yes.
That's right.
Yes, as our
That's
travels.
not about raising kids either.
Oh, we're just blowing it all the crazy kids.
I
It was
wonder-
sort of like raising kids. We sort of got distracted a lot, and ended up we turned around and said, "Okay, it's time to start teaching you kids stuff," and they were growing.
Yeah. They're teaching us now.
They all stood around us. They all got together when Thirsty ate mice out in the garage.
Well, James wasn't there and Melinda wasn't
No,
there.
I know they had left already, but they know they were there. I got the two boys.
Yep.
They were a little. When they both were in the bathtub. It did interest them when I took Thirsty and put it in and had the snake swim around with him.
Nobody
thought they
knows
were a little
what Thirsty is.
Thursday was our California king snake
That's right.
that came down from the mountains.
The
And it
hill
was-
behind the house.
It was mountains. I call it a mountain. She
And
calls
our
it a
neighbor
hill.
next door had a phobia against snakes, and we were afraid that that person was going to kill Thirsty, so we kept him.
Yep, for a
Yeah.
while. Yep.
I'm not certain it was a him. Could have been a her. It's really hard to tell with snakes. I don't even know where to look to find out.
That's true.
Anyway, Thirsty was very, very interesting. And yes, the kids did like to watch Thirsty eat mice. We used to go to the pet store to buy mice for Thirsty to eat. And I always picked out the ugly ones. I wouldn't pick out any cute ones because I didn't want to see him eat a cute mouse. I didn't care if he ate the ugly ones.
You did. Too.
Anyway, we fed him so much that he shed about 2 times a year, which I think is unusual.
Yes.
Maybe 3.
And we'd have extra skin
Yeah.
in his little home.
And then Mark took Thirsty for a slither one day
Yes.
outside,
And he got away.
and we had ivy up on the back hill, and Thirsty slithered away.
Yep. That's the last we saw of Thirsty, I think.
No, that wasn't the last I
No,
saw of him.
well, she thinks it was one that a
I
snake
know.
we found, and I don't think it was Thirsty. I think it was another one.
We had 3 houses in a row. We lived in one, and the other 2 we used as offices until the city of Fremont made us knock that off. And I went from where we were living over to the first house, which is where we live now, and when we're in California. And Thirsty was there. George had planted grass, but he had planted sod, and it had a wire backing to hold it together. And the wire backing was actually not wire, it was plastic. And Thirsty apparently was going after food or something, and he slithered into one of the openings. There were, probably inch and a half. And he couldn't back out, and he was too fat to go forward. So he died, and the ants were eating him.
Too bad.
So that's the last we saw of Thirsty.
I think it was another snake, but I just don't want to see my poor snake go that young.
Well, we saved him for years.
That's true. So, anyway, we talked about raising Thirsty, and the kids sort of made it on their own.
No, we fed the kids too. We didn't just feed the snake.
Say goodbye.
Good night.
Good night, Gracie.
Was I supposed to say Gracie?
I don't know, I think so.
Good night, Gracie.
Old Man Stories. One more day with families.